Hey guys, it's Krabby John, and I'm excited to be reading Santa Claus the Christmas Crab for you today. The waves turned to ice, and the snow fell all day, one cold Christmas Eve in the Chesapeake Bay. Ashore, colored lights lit the tree in the square, and carolers sang music filling the air. The stockings were hung, and the cocoa was hot. Good children said prayers, but sleep they could not. Meanwhile, outside of town, in a cove dusted white, all the animals had a much quieter night. The herons and egrets, the ducks and the geese, found refuge together and nestled in peace. Furry foxes and raccoons and tiny gray moles were curled up asleep in their dens and their holes, while below the bay's ice crust, all tucked in their beds, the oysters and crabs and fish rested their heads. Not once would they move, not a peep from the deep, until the spring sun woke them all from their sleep. But suddenly noise cut the cold air in half, then faintly, so faintly, the tiniest laugh. No, this Christmas Eve in the Chesapeake Bay was not going to pass in a typical way. For below in the water, awake in the mud, was a naughty young crab the others called Spud. Spud hated to nap. He was just like his father. He thought all that sleep was a waste and a bother. Jumping out of the mud, he gave others a poke and a poke until all of them woke. "Get up, crabs," Spud hollered. "Don't lie there and snooze. Just think of the time you waste, time that you lose." He grabbed the tin can where he'd hidden some clothes, then stuck a plump berry on his face for a nose. A sock that he'd found made a grand Santa hat, and a waterman's glove made his thin legs look fat. Some whiskers he'd cut from grass stored in the fall, and 8 rubber boots on 8 feet made him tall. A crab dressed as Santa, a Santa with claws. If you met this Santa, would you know who it was? He winked as he chuckled. His pincers went click. Why, no one would guess this crab wasn't Saint Nick. "I'm off," Spud cried, gaily, a grin eye to eye. He swam away sideways, his claw waved goodbye. By then crabs were wide-eyed and giggling too. They could not believe what they saw young Spud do. He thumped on the oysters, he pulled the fish tails, ignoring their moaning and groaning and wails. "I'm Santa with claws," Spud yelled, "Santa who pinches. Get up or I'll pinch you, you little fish grinches." "Oh, what for?" a perch begged him. A crab wondered too. "If we get up for Christmas, then what will we do?" "You'll see," Spud declared, "I have a surprise. Get up now, be patient. Don't open your eyes." Spud swam away quickly to wake up the band, a group of musicians who played in the sand. A fiddler crab trio, a flounder on flute, an eel with a sax, and a bass with a lute. The band had a lovely young rockfish on harp, and French horns were blown by both catfish and carp. The jellyfish blobbed while a ray practiced drumming. The crab chorus gathered and warmed up by humming. The bay-bottom band, every gill, every fin, was ready to play when Spud crawled out, "Begin." The music was loud, oysters popped open their shells. In time with the rhythm, they sounded like bells. With all of that singing and dancing and clapping, not one single creature remained in bed napping. Spud used things he'd found for a fine Christmas tree, then strung up green seaweed and shells carefully. An old sunken rowboat provided a spot for Spud to place foods that were tasty and hot. He hugged each dear friend and said, "Now don't you see, why Christmas awake once meant so much to me." Their talking and laughing made so many bubbles. At first no one heard that real Santa had troubles. But when they heard boom, which was followed by whack, they gazed up to see the ice tremble and crack. Real Santa called help as his sleigh circled twice before trying to land once again on the ice. "Oh gosh," moaned real Santa, "a storm without warning? and all these fine toys to hand out before morning. The snow finally stopped, and stars brightened the night, but Santa was lost. It was such a sad sight. There was Spud who spoke up. I can show you the way. I know every inch of the Chesapeake Bay. Real Santa was startled. Are you Santa too? Spud chuckled. Well, yeah, but not a real one like you. Real Santa said, Fine, Mr. Crab, have a seat. Please show us the way. I've a deadline to meet. Spud pointed his claw. The town's there in the west. Straight on, tell the reindeer. We'll hope for the best. The reindeer plunged forward in snow to their knees. They leapt in the air with astonishing ease. The fish and crabs wondered, would Spud be all right, so high in the sky, out of water at night? Afraid, they peeked over the ice towards the shore and witnessed a sight they'd only heard of before. A sleigh with 8 reindeer flew down from the sky and landed on rooftops of houses nearby. Real Santa Claus holding a sack and a light, then jumped in each chimney and slid out of sight. He's just like a sand crab, one fish told his brother. He ducks down one hole, then scoots down another. The fish and crabs waited and worried and shivered, while all of the toys and the gifts were delivered. Hooray, they cheered Spud. Santa thanked his crab guide. I wish there was one Christmas gift left, he sighed. Then he reached in his pocket and said, Oh my gosh, it's one of my hats that was shrunk in the wash. Spud loved this new hat. He was eager to wear it. He grinned at his friends and declared, We'll all share it. By then, all were tired. Enough celebration. There was time to return to their long hibernation. In sand, mud, and seaweed, they stretched and they yawned, as Christmas, a new day, above them had dawned. The church bells rang out, and the sky turned bright blue. For many good children, their dreams had come true. Real Santa flew home, while below in the deep, the oysters and fish and crabs went back to sleep. They dreamed of the spring and the tides and the sun, of friendships they had, of clean water and fun. They dreamed of a Santa Claus crab wearing red, and of that one Christmas they had out of bed. Thank you for watching. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. This is Krabby John, and I'm out.